I'm Anna, 26 years old. I work as a teller at a city commercial bank. I've been here for 4 years, starting out as an intern and now a full-time teller. My daily work involves handling deposits, withdrawals, money transfers, account openings, and closes for customers. The days are repetitive and mundane, yet I love this job. I get to meet all kinds of people and hear their unique stories every single day. Some people come in grinning from ear to ear to deposit their demolition compensation. Others furrow their brows tightly as they borrow money to pay off debts. There are also parents sending tuition fees to their children far away, urging me, "Don't worry about the extra service fee. Just make sure the money gets through quickly." Working in this line, we see countless sums of money, and more importantly, the true nature of people. I always thought I was pretty good at reading people. That was until one day, while checking the transaction logs of our ATMs, I stumbled upon something that sent a chill down my part. Our bank has over a dozen ATMs scattered across the city. Every day, all transaction records from each machine are uploaded to our back-end system. Part of my daily routine is to spend an hour each morning reviewing the previous day's ATM transactions to spot any irregularities. On that particular day, I was going through records from the ATM at our Old Town branch in the east of the city. I noticed something strange. At 3:15 a.m., there was a transfer of $30. The recipient was a man named Eric. I glanced at it briefly and moved on. The next day, the same ATM processed another $30 transfer to Eric at 3:12 a.m. On the third day, it was 3:18 a.m., again $30 to Eric. On the fourth day, 3:20 a.m., the exact same amount to the same person. This went on for 7 days straight. This was far from normal behavior. No ordinary person would head out in the middle of the night to make identical transfers at the same machine day after day. I pulled up the detailed information for the receiving account labeled Eric. The name felt familiar. I ran a search in the system, and within seconds, a record popped up. My hands turned ice cold in an instant. A person who had passed away 5 years ago should have had their account fully deactivated long ago. Yet this account was still active, continually receiving money. I leaned back in my chair and stared at the screen. Bright sunlight streamed through the window onto my keyboard, but chills kept running down my back. A bank account belonging to someone who'd been gone for 5 years was still collecting regular transfers. Night after night, someone ventured out in the wee hours to send money to this long-dead person, without fail. This was no coincidence, nor was it a system glitch. Someone was doing this deliberately. Who would do such a thing, and why had the account never been properly closed? I dug deeper into the account's transaction history. Every single incoming transfer came from ATM number 3 at the East Old Town branch. Money only flowed into the account, never out. The funds just sat there, untouched, year after year. I wondered how much money had accumulated here over 5 years. I pulled out a calculator to do the math. $30 a day adds up to $10,950 a year. 5 years? More than $50,000. More than $5,000. Sitting idle in a dead man's account, forgotten by everyone. I made a choice that violated bank regulations. I decided to pull the surveillance footage for that ATM. Bank rules state only supervisors and higher-ranking staff can access surveillance videos, but I couldn't hold back. A former colleague had shown me a minor loophole in the back-end permissions years ago, one I'd never dared to use until that day. The time window from 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. was broad, so I cranked up the playback speed to 8 times faster and fast-forwarded through the footage. For the first few minutes, the ATM booth stood empty. Then, at 3:05 a.m., a figure appeared. The person wore a black hoodie with the hood pulled low over their head and a face mask covering their features. It was impossible to tell if they were male or female. They walked into the ATM room, pulled out a bank card, inserted it into the machine, entered a password, selected the transfer option, typed in the amount, and confirmed the transaction. I paused the video frame and zoomed in. The hoodie was designed for men, yet the build underneath didn't match a man's frame. Beneath the men's hoodie was a floral shirt. Whoever this was a woman, most likely an elderly one. I told no one about what I'd discovered. Not my supervisor, not my coworkers, not even my best friend. I had no idea how to put this into words. Who would believe me if I said I found someone sending money to a deceased person? Everyone would think I'd lost my mind or made up a wild story. I resolved to look into this on my own. It wasn't that I was brave. I just couldn't let this mystery go. Who was this hooded woman visiting the ATM every midnight? Why did she keep sending money to a man who had passed away? Did she even know he was gone? Starting that night, I parked my car on the opposite side of the street near the East Side ATM every day at 3 a.m., waiting quietly with my lights turned off. The first 2 nights, no one showed up. On the third night, at 3:10 a.m., that familiar old bicycle appeared on the street corner. The cyclist was wearing a black hoodie. She parked her bicycle next to the ATM, looked around, and then went into the machine. I got out of my car and walked quickly over. I stood outside the glass door and watched her from behind. She moved slowly, going through each step with great care. Inserting the card, entering the password, selecting transfer, typing the amount, confirming. I tapped on the glass door.
She jumped in fright and spun around. Her eyes were large and her eye sockets were red, as if she had just been crying. She looked to be in her 60s, maybe even older.
Good evening, ma'am. I work for this bank. I mean no harm. I've noticed you come here to make transfers in the middle of the night for a long time now. May I ask who you're sending the money to?
Her body began to tremble. She hung her head and spoke in a voice so faint I could barely hear her.
To my son.
What's your son's name?
Eric.
My hands trembled slightly. Eric, the man who died 5 years prior. Do you know where your son is now? I asked carefully, not wanting to break the news harshly and hurt her. She lifted her head and looked at me, tears glistening in her eyes.
I know. He's in heaven.
I opened my mouth to speak, but no words came out.
When he was alive, I never had extra pocket money to give him.
Her voice shaking as she struggled to stay calm.
My husband passed away early, and I raised him all alone. We lived in poverty. While other kids had pocket money for snacks and toys, he had nothing. He never once asked me for money, because he knew we couldn't afford it.
She paused and wiped the tears from her cheeks.
Later, when he grew up and started working, he sent me money every month. I told him he didn't need to, but he'd say, "Mom, you never got to give me pocket money when I was little, so let me take care of you now." Every time he said that, my heart ached. 5 years ago, he died in a car accident. Said have a call he ever made was to me. He said, "Ma, I've transferred Dimison to your card, ting to pick it." I told him I would. That was the last thing he ever said to me. And after that, I saved every penny of that final salary he sent me. I never spent a cent. After he was gone, I kept thinking, I never got to give him pocket money while he was alive, and now I still couldn't reach him. My pension isn't much, but I decided to set aside $30 every single day and send it to his account. It's my way of giving him the pocket money I owed him. I know he's no longer here. I know no one can withdraw that money, but I just can't stop. I don't know why.
Her hands shook violently, yet her tone remained steady, holding back overwhelming grief deep inside her heart. I reached out and held her hand. It was cold, with thick knuckles, hands worn rough from a lifetime of hard labor. Ma'am, what was your son's name?
Eric.
He must have been a wonderful man.
At those words, she finally broke down and cried.
I stood beside her outside the ATM booth for a long time that night. All the money you've transferred over the years is still safe in the account. The bank had never reclaimed or closed it. It adds up to more than $5,000 in total.
$50,000? I never imagined it would be that much.
30 a day, more than $10,000 a year, more than 50,000 in 5 years.
I do take that money back. Once I send it to him, it belongs to him. It's his.
According to bank policy, when an account holder passes away, their account should be closed, and the remaining funds passed on to legal heirs. But she refused to claim the money. Ma'am, where do you live? Let me walk you home.
No need. I can ride my scooter back myself.
Please let me accompany you. It's late and the roads aren't safe. She didn't turn me down. I walked alongside her scooter down the streets for more than 10 minutes.
She lived on the 5th floor of an old apartment building with no elevator.
I got back to my own place at nearly 5 a.m. as dawn was starting to break. I lay in bed, tossing and turning, unable to sleep. The image of the elderly woman kept replaying in my mind, her wrinkled face, her red eyes, her trembling hands operating the ATM. For 5 full years, over 1,800 nights, she had gotten up at 3 a.m. every day, rode in her scooter to the remote ATM, and sent $30 to her late son, without a single interruption. I wondered why she always chose 3 a.m. Maybe it was because the streets were empty then, and she didn't want others to judge her. Or perhaps her son's accident had happened at that exact hour. It might just be a habit now.
But I could tell this ritual was never just about transferring money. It was her quiet way of talking to her son. Stepping into that small ATM booth each midnight and going through the transfer steps was her personal ritual to stay connected to him.
The next day at work, I stared at the account balance on my screen for a lat $50,000 lay there silently, like a quiet tomb. I wanted to edit the display name on the account, not officially alter the registered name, just change what showed up on the system screen. I planned to change Eric to Eric, Heaven.
I wasn't just acting out of sympathy. I carried a regret of my own.
My father passed away when I was 19, right after I got into university. He'd been sick for a long time, but I wasn't by his side when he took his last breath. By the time I rushed home, he could no longer speak. I'd always been too reserved to say I love you out loud, even to my own parents. For 10 long years, I never found the courage to speak them. The weight of that unspoken love still hurts my heart to this day. When I saw this elderly mother clinging to her own way of loving her deceased son, I understood exactly what she was doing. She was saying I love you in the only way she knew how. She was braver than I ever was. I knew modifying the account display name was a serious violation of regulations, but I couldn't hold back anymore. I got into a good college and landed a stable job, always playing by the rules, but this time I wanted to follow my heart instead. During the lunch break, while all my colleagues were out eating, I logged into the back-end management system. My own account only had viewing permissions, no editing rights. But I knew the login details of a close coworker who held higher authority to modify account informations. She was my best friend here. I'd covered her shifts countless times before, so she'd trusted me with her password. I typed in her username and password. A system warning popped up. You are attempting a sensitive operation. Please confirm. My hand hovered over the mouse, torn between two thoughts. One voice screamed that I was being reckless and would get fired. The other thought of the lonely mother visiting the cold ATM booth every midnight. How could I let her keep doing this alone? I thought of my father and the words I'd never gotten to say. I clicked confirm. I pulled up Eric's account profile, deleted the original name, and typed in Eric Heaven. Then I clicked save. The system flashed a message, modification successful. I logged out and leaned back in my chair, my heart pounding wildly in my chest. I felt anxious all afternoon, terrified that someone would discover what I've done or that the elderly woman would be frightened by the changed name. I even considered changing it back, but in the end, I chose not to. A week later, I returned to keep watch by the ATM again. At 3 a.m. sharp, the elderly woman arrived as usual. She walked into the booth, inserted her card, and entered her password, just like always. But when the transfer page loaded, she froze. Her shoulders shook violently as she stared at the screen without moving a muscle. I thought she had noticed something was wrong, so I quickly went over to her. I watched her cover her mouth with her hand, breaking down into distressed sobs. Her shoulders trembled as she struggled to hold back her tears. "Ma'am, what's wrong?" I asked softly. She turned to me and pointed at the screen. I leaned closer and read the recipient name clearly displayed, Eric Heaven.
Did you change this?
I did. I'm so sorry I acted without asking you first.
Thank you.
She didn't leave right after finishing the transfer that night. Instead, she took my hand and sat outside the ATM booth, talking with me for a long time.
What's your name, dear?
Anna.
Anna, do you know? I haven't slept well for 5 years. Every time I close my eyes, I see him as a little boy. I see him wearing worn-out sneaks to school, being teased by other kids. I kept telling myself that once we had more money, I'd buy him brand new shoes. But before we ever got that chance, he was gone. That's why I do this. I couldn't give him pocket money when he was alive, so I have to make it up to him now. $30 a day isn't a fortune, but it's what I can spare. I know it seems silly and he can't actually get the money, but I just can't stop myself. Do you understand, Anna?
I do understand. This was never just about money transfers. It was pure love. When you love someone so deeply and they're gone, you cling to simple rituals just to feel connected to them.
That word heaven. You made sure he's safe in heaven.
I chose not to tell her about the rule I'd broken or the risk of losing my job. I didn't want her to worry.
From that day on, I kept a close eye on the account every morning at work. Without fail, a $30 transfer would appear overnight, sent to Eric Heaven. I was glad I'd made that choice, yet a quiet fear lingered. What if my secret was discovered? Days passed peacefully, until 2 months later. Head office issued a notice launching a special cleanup campaign for dormant bank accounts. Eric's account, now labeled Eric Heaven, was added to the closer list. A cold chill washed over me as I read the notice. Following official procedures, the bank would first attempt to contact the account holder. But Eric was long dead, so contact was impossible. The system would automatically close the account, and all the accumulated funds would be moved to unclaimed funds. All the money the elderly mother had sent over 5 years would be seized by the bank. She would never get it back.
Linda, can we leave this account open? Please don't close it.
Eric. That name rings a bell.
She pulled up the account on her screen, and her expression quickly turned serious.
This account holder passed away 5 years ago. It should have been closed long ago. Why is it still receiving transfers? And who changed the account display name?
I fell silent,
unable to find an excuse.
Anna, you know something about this account, don't you? Do you know Eric?
I hesitated, unsure how to explain everything.
Step outside for a moment. I'll check the system's operation logs.
My heart raced as I walked out of her office. Every action made on the system was recorded in the logs, including which account had edited the name.
She closed the door and pulled down the window blinds.
Anna, the logs show someone used Jill's account to edit this account's name 2 months ago. Jane says she was out for lunch that day and left her computer unlocked. We checked the surveillance footage, and it clearly shows you sitting at her workstation for nearly 5 minutes performing the operation.
It was me.
Do you understand how serious this is? You altered a customer's account information without authorization. This is a major violation of bank policy.
I took a deep breath and told her the entire story. Linda stayed quiet for a very long time after I finished speaking.
Do you know the elderly woman's name?
I don't know her full name. I only know her son is Eric.
Linda pulled up the transaction source in the system.
The transfers all come from an account registered under the name Mabel. She's 60 years old, living in the old East Side neighborhood. Is this the woman you met?
Yes, that must be her.
Can you get in touch with her?
Yes. I wait for her by the ATM most mornings. She knows me well.
My heart goes out to her, and I understand your kindness. But rules are rules. I have to report this incident to the branch manager. I can't make an exception.
Linda, please don't make this an official report. I'll write a self-critication, accept pay cuts, or a demotion, anything.
You're too soft-hearted, Anna.
The next day, the branch manager asked me to her office. Manager Wendy was in her 50s, a serious and dignified woman.
Anna, I know you're a diligent and responsible employee, but what you did crossed every professional boundary. Customer account information is confidential and cannot be altered casually. If we allow this, others may start changing account balances, names, or passwords too. We cannot set this precedent.
I understand completely. I have no excuses. I will accept whatever punishment you decide.
According to bank regulations, unauthorized modification of customer information carries penalties ranging from major demerit and demotion to immediate termination. Your intentions were good, but your actions were still against policy. I'll give you 2 options. First, resign voluntarily. I will write you a positive reference letter stating you left for personal reasons. Second, we will issue a formal notice of creditation and you will remain employed on probation, but your chances of promotion will be gone forever.
I'll resign.
Are you absolutely sure?
Yes. Wendy, may I ask one last question?
Go ahead.
Will Mabel's son's account still be closed?
I will report this special case to higher management and fight to keep the account open.
I never told my colleagues the real reason I quit. When they asked, I simply said I wanted a change of scenery. Jill feels really guilty because I used her account to do it.
It's none of your business. I acted on my own. I handed in my resignation letter and packed up my desk. 4 years of working as a bank teller had come to an end. On my last day, Linda walked with me to the main entrance.
What are your plans for the future?
I haven't decided yet.
What about Mabel? Will you stay in touch with her?
I plan to visit her often.
I have a suggestion for you. You care so deeply about her story. Why not share it with others, as a private person, not a bank employee? Maybe your words can inspire more people to offer kindness to those who are hurting.
I'll think about it.
I glanced back at the bank's glass doors as I stepped outside. I'd walked through them every day for 4 years, and this might be the last time. I felt no regret. I thought of my father again. If someone had helped me voice my feelings all those years ago, I wouldn't carry this heavy regret now.
3 days after I resigned, I headed to the East Side ATM at 3 a.m. again. I wasn't there to keep watch. I was there to wait for Mabel. At 3:10 a.m., her old scooter rounded the corner. She wore the familiar black hoodie, as always.
Anna, why are you out so late?
I resigned from my job.
Resigned? Why?
Just wanted to try something new. Ma'am, I'd like to talk to you about something.
What is it, dear?
Would you consider switching to automatic transfers through mobile banking? You could set it to transfer once a week or once a month. That way you won't have to head out in the middle of the night every day. The roads get slippery in cold weather, and it's dangerous for someone your age.
I understood completely. This was never just about moving money. It was her way of visiting and talking to her son every single day.
Then keep doing it your way. I'll come with you every night. I became Mabel's constant companion for her midnight trips. At least 3 nights a week, I would meet her at the ATM after 3 a.m. While she completed her transfer inside the booth, I stood guard outside, watching over her scooter and shielding her from the wind.
Girl, you don't need to come. You have to go to work the next day.
I'm not working anymore. I'm taking a break for a while. At first, she felt embarrassed, but hearing what I said, she stopped protesting.
My husband passed away early, and I raised my child alone. During the hardest times, I only ate one meal a day. Eric was exceptionally well behaved as a child, always getting first place in his exams and never causing her any worry.
I mostly just listened. She didn't need advice. She just needed someone to sit with her and listen. The streets were dead quiet, with only the hum of the ATM machine breaking the silence. Occasionally a car would pass by, its headlights stretching our long shadows across the pavement.
Anna, why are you so good to me?
Because you deserve kindness. A month after I resigned, I received a phone call from my former coworker, Jill.
Anna, we have good news about Mabel's account.
The bank has finished its investigation, and the account won't be closed or seized after all. Head office approved it as a special exception. Really? What made them change their minds? Manager Wendy reported the whole story to upper management. At first, they insisted on following the rules, but someone wrote up a detailed report and sent it to the provincial bank leaders. The director said, "A mother has sent money to her late son for 5 years. What right do we have to close this account?"
Leave it be, and let her keep doing what she needs to do.
Thank you so much, Jill. Thank you for everything.
Don't thank me. Thank yourself. You were the one who noticed her pain and chose to help her. I only passed along the news.
I hung up and immediately called Mabel's landline.
Ma'am, I have wonderful news. The bank won't close your son's account. You can keep sending transfers.
There was a long silence on the other end of the line. Then I heard her quiet, hoarse voice.
Anna, you are such a good girl.
And you are too, ma'am.
After hearing the good news, I began to think about what else I could do to help others like Mabel.
I made a decision. I'm going to start a heartwarming donation charity project. It's not a real bank transfer, but a service for emotional connection. I wanted to help people trapped in grief, people who missed loving ones who'd passed away, find a way to keep communicating with them, through letters, voice recordings. I had no idea if the project would succeed, but I was determined to try. I shared my idea with Mabel. Her eyes lit up after she heard me.
Anna, this is such a kind thing to do.
It's just a rough idea for now. I'm not sure if it will work out.
It will work. You're the kind of person who makes good things happen. If you need help, count me in. I don't have much education, but I can greet people at the door.
They won't exactly be guests. They're people who need someone to talk to.
Either way, I'll welcome them.
I didn't turn her down. She lived alone and often felt lonely at home. Having something meaningful to do would lift her spirits. The emotional transfers project sounded simple, but running it was far from easy. I had no office space, no funding, no team, and no professional counseling qualifications. I was just a former bank teller, not a social worker or therapist. But I had one valuable thing, the patience to listen to people's stories. I applied for community public charity venture funding and submitted a simple project proposal written on just 3 pages of plain paper. Unfortunately, the application was rejected. The reviewers said my project goals were unclear, services were undefined, and there were no measurable evaluation standards. I sat down on the curb outside the community office, my heart heavy with frustration. Mabel found out about the rejection and was more upset than I was.
Don't lose heart, Anna. Let's start helping people first. Once we prove what we can do, the support will come.
But we don't have a place to meet with people.
You can use my living room. My house is empty most of the day. I'll make tea for everyone.
Ma'am, are you sure?
I live alone. The living room just sits empty. I can give you a key. I'll go to the park during the day so you have privacy.
Please stay at home. Having you here will make people feel safer. You feel just like a mother to everyone.
She broke into a warm smile, the happiest smile I'd ever seen on her face.
All right then. I'll be everyone's mother.
From then on, Mabel's living room became the unofficial office for emotional transfers. There were no signs or logos, just an old sofa, a tea table, and a steady supply of hot tea. Our first visitor was a man in his 30s. He'd seen the simple notice I posted online. If you have unspoken feelings weighing on your heart, come talk to us. No charge, just tea and a listening ear.
He sat on the old sofa, staring at his hands nervously, twisting his fingers together. Mabel poured him a cup of tea, but he set it down untouched.
I lost a very close friend last year.
A childhood friend?
We grew up together. He passed away while I was away on a business trip. I couldn't make it back for his funeral. I I couldn't bring myself to go. I couldn't bear to see him like that.
What do you wish you could say to him?
Tears streamed down his cheeks.
I want to say thank you. He always stood up for me when I was bullied as a kid. I haven't slept well since he left. I feel like I owe him a proper thank you, but he's gone now and I don't know how to say it.
Would you like to write him a letter?
A letter? But he's not here to read it.
Write it anyway. You don't need to send it. Just write down everything you want to say to him, and I'll help you deliver it in our own way.
What way?
I walked to the window and gestured toward the sky outside. Do you believe that love and words can travel on the wind, through light, through invisible threads? I don't know if heaven is real, but I know putting your feelings into words will lighten the weight in your heart.
All right, I'll write it.
He pulled out a pen and wrote a short letter on the tea table. When he finished, he folded it carefully and handed it to me.
Please pass this on to him.
I took the letter, folded it into a paper airplane, opened the window and tossed it outside. The plane glided through the morning light and landed softly on the lawn below.
It's time.
He left with a faint, relieved smile, not a joyful grin, but the look of someone who had finally let go of a heavy burden. Mabel's living room slowly filled with warmth and life, but trouble arrived soon after. Someone filed a false report accusing us of illegal fund-runding.
Carl from the community committee arrived at the door with 2 uniformed officers.
It happened while we were comforting a mother who had lost her child. Mabel answered the door.
Mabel, we've received a report of illegal fundraising here. We need to conduct an investigation.
I'm the person in charge of this project. We do not collect any money from anyone. This is a free service for people struggling with grief.
Carol glanced around the room, the upset mother sitting on the sofa, the simple teacups on the table, and our handwritten poster on the wall.
Have you registered this service officially? Do you have the relevant qualifications?
We're in the process of applying right now.
In that case, you'll need to suspend operations first. Don't reopen until all formalities are completed.
Carol, we're truly doing good deeds here. These people are just suffering in their hearts and want someone to talk to. We never take a penny from anyone. Please don't shut us down.
I'm not trying to make things hard for you. A report was filed, so I have to follow the official procedure. I'll do you a favor. I can put you in touch with some acquaintance to help with the paperwork.
I looked at Mabel's graying hair, then at the grieving mother who was nervously clutching a tissue. I took a deep breath.
Carol, please give me 1 month. I will finish all the registry procedures within 30 days. Before that, can we keep this place open? We won't involve any funds at all. We only talk and listen.
Carl thought for a long moment.
All right, 1 month. I'll keep an eye on things here, but you need to stay low-key or someone will make trouble again.
Anna, are we going to get into trouble? We'll be fine. We haven't done anything wrong. I lay awake that night. Why was it so difficult just to do something kind? Yet I thought of my father and those 3 unspoken words, I love you. If there had been a place for me to pour out my feelings back then, I wouldn't have carried this regret for years. I couldn't give up now. I threw myself into sorting out the official paperwork. I visited 6 times and revised my documents 8 times. I was not a professional social worker, so many professional terms and rules confused me. But I asked every staff member patiently and learned step by step.
Manna could not help with the formalities, but she called me every day without fail.
Anna, have you eaten
Got
somewhere
more
in the
going
house?
when I felt alone. With 3 days left in the 1-month period, I finally received a registration certificate. The Emotional Transfers Public Welfare Project was officially registered. I cried. These were not tears of grievance, but tears of relief after endless hard work.
Auntie, we've got all the paperwork done.
Good. That's wonderful. I always knew you could make it.
After official registration, emotional transfers gradually got on track. We rented a small office in an office building in the old town. It was not large, but much more spacious than Mabel's living room. One day, Amanda received a phone call. A middle-aged man on the line broke down in tears, saying his child had also passed away from illness. Amanda listened silently for a long time. After hanging up, she turned to me. He's all alone at home. I'm worried about him. I want to go see him. I'll go with you. We arrived at the man's home. The curtains were drawn tightly, leaving the living room dim. He sat on the sofa, staring blankly at a photo of his child. He did not speak a single word. Amanda sat down beside him. She did not tell him to cheer up, nor did she say time heals all wounds. She just stayed there, keeping him company in silence. I thought I could never go on when my son left. Then I found this place where people are willing to listen to me. You can come too.
Did you really find peace there?
Yes. It's called Emotional Transfers in the east of the city. Come over and I'll make you a cup of tea. The man took her advice and came to our office soon after. He became another one of our visitors.
As the project gained stable funding and grew bigger, Mabel decided to donate part of the money in Eric's account to us. She stood at the bank counter and handed the transfer slip to the teller. Her hands were steady this time.
This is a donation from my son.
After finishing the donation, she walked out of the bank and stood for a while.
Anna, do you think Eric's would agree with what I did?
He absolutely would. He was always ready to help others when he was alive. This donation is just him continuing his kindness.
Then I will keep transferring $30 to him every day. There's still 20 wowsblive left in his account, no for years to come.
Oh, Bri.
The bright sunshine fell on her gray hair. She narrowed her eyes and looked far into the distance. Perhaps she was talking to her son in her heart. One night, I called Mabel many times, but no one answered. Worry crept over me, so I rode over to her house right away. I knocked on the door with no reply. I took out the spare key she had given me and unlocked the door. The living room light was on, but she was nowhere to be seen. Then I saw her lying on the bed in the bedroom. Her face was pale, and cold sweat covered her forehead.
Auntie, what's wrong with you?
It's nothing. Just a tight feeling in my chest. An old problem.
Don't be scared. I have called emergency services. The ambulance will arrive soon.
Anna, if I leave this world someday, please keep making the daily transfer for me.
You won't leave us. You still have to send money to Eric for many years and make tea at the office. Mabel stayed in hospital for 5 days. The doctor told her to take medicine and avoid overworking.
On the day of discharge, the doctor repeatedly warned her not to ride the scooter or stay up late.
I'll pick you up every day from now on. Don't ride the scooter alone anymore.
Then who will accompany me to send money to Eric?
I will. I'll come to pick you up every day, and we'll go together.
Aren't you busy with work?
My work is to stay with you.
Anna, I don't know how to repay you.
You don't need to repay me. Taking good care of yourself's the best reward for me.
From that day on, I got up at nearly 2:50 a.m. every day and drove to Mabel's community.
Her home was on the 5th floor with no elevator. I climbed the stairs slowly and helped her walk down step by step. She moved slowly, and I waited patiently beside her. We arrived at the ATM booth. She completed the transfer, and I stood guard outside. The streets were quiet in the early hours, sometimes windy. Finishing the transfer, she walked out with a calm expression, as if she had just finished a sacred task.
Anna, do you think Eric will find me annoying? Will he say, "Mom, stop spinning this, I can't spend all the money"?
He won't. He will tell you to keep the money for yourself.
That's exactly what he would say. He always thought about me first when he was alive.
How many years have you kept doing this?
Nearly 6 years now.
How long do you plan to keep it up?
Until the day I can't move anymore.
Another year passed. The Emotional Transfers Project was awarded the title of Excellent Publicly Project by the city government. I stood on the stage to receive the award. Mabel, Amanda, Carol, and many people who had helped us sat in the audience. I spoke to everyone present. This award does not belong to me. It belongs to Aunt Mabel. She made me understand that true love never fades away even after death. She taught me that everyone needs an emotional account. We deposit longing and love into it, not cash. What we do at Emotional Transfers is simple. We help people with unspoken feelings find a way to keep talking to their loved ones who have left us. Thank you all.
Mabel wiped away her tears in the audience. Amanda held her arm and patted her back gently.
After the awards ceremony, Mabel held my hand.
Anna, you speak so well, even better than my son.
I'm not good at speaking. I just spoke what's truly in my heart.
I know. That's why I cried.
On the 3rd anniversary of Emotional Transfers, we held a small sortamity. We put up infantry of the message board, titled Letters to Heaven. Everyone could write a sentence to the person they missed. Mabel wrote, "Eric, Mom is doing well, don't worry about me. I will keep sending you 30 yuan every day. Take good care of yourself in heaven." Amanda said, "My dear sons, Mom can smile now, don't worry about me. Fleming who lost his childhood friend Guthu. Thanks you, I miss you." More and more lines filled the board before long. I stood in front of the board and stared at all the words for a long time. Thoughts of my father flooded my mind. I picked up a pen and wrote 4 simple words in a quiet corner. "Dad, I love you."
These were the words I had wanted to say for 10 years but never dared to speak out. Maybe he could not see the writing, but I firmly believed he could hear my heart.
Today marks the 3rd anniversary of the official launch of emotional transfers. The windowsills of our office were covered with fresh flowers, all brought by Amanda. Mabel still came to make tea every day. Her health continued to decline, but she refused to rest. Today, after finishing her work, she stood by the window and stared outside for a long time.
Auntie, what are you thinking about? I was thinking about Eric. If he were still alive, he would be 35 this year. He might have gotten married and had a child, and I could have been a grandmother. But I also wonder, if he had lived, I would not have gone to the ATM every midnight, would not have met you, and this project would never have existed. Do you think this is all fate's arrangement?
I could not answer that question, but I knew one thing for sure. Hardships and partings do not only bring sorrow, they also push us to become kinder, warmer people. Auntie, will you keep transferring money next month?
Of course I will. $30 every day, without fail. He lives in heaven, and I live on earth. As long as I keep sending the money, we stay connected.
Then I will stay with you. Always.
Anna, you are the best person I have ever met in my life.
You too, Auntie. The sunset streamed through the window, falling on the tea and the teacups. The tea leaves unfolded gently in the hot water, just like small flowers blooming again and again. Outside the window, people hurried along the streets.